My wife one time says, when are we going to sell the business? Cut our losses. And I looked at her and I said, when I'm dead. And she didn't like that. But it's the truth. It's like, I knew the business could be successful. I knew the demographics were right. I knew the business model was right. It just needed time.
If you're an entrepreneur, you kind of got to be a little sick in the head, dude, because there's so many obstacles, man. There really is.
Everyone thinks, oh, these rich people, oh, they see them at parties, they see them drinking wine, they see them in nice suits, nice cars. They don't see the sacrifices these people have to make. They just see the one side of it.
Thanks for coming on, Jeff. It's been nice getting to know you in the last couple of months. To kind of give everyone watching a little bit of context on who you are, why don't you talk a little bit about, Omni and your entrepreneurial journey? Just kind of tee this up as an intro.
Okay. Well, my entrepreneurial journey actually started before any of this, when I was like 20. You want me to go back that far?
Wherever you want to take us.
Okay. So I wanted to do something. So limousine service was like all the rage at the time. Everyone wanted limousines and stuff. This was in the 80s and the late 80s. And so I wanted to get a limousine. So I went to a coach builder that had some used limousines. And I found one. They wanted $40,000 for it. I had to put $5,000 down. But I didn't have any money.
It's a long time ago. That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah. I was a kid. I didn't have any money. So I went to Comerica Bank and I got a line of credit for $5,000. Now, a line of credit, I'm sure you know how it works, but basically, until you sign a check out of it, it's not borrowed money. It's just there for you. So I went to the coach builder and said, yeah, I have the money for the down payment. They go, do you have any loans? I was like, no, that wasn't a lie because I hadn't signed any checks out from him. So I paid the down payment from the line of credit, financed the rest through the coach builder, and for no money, I had myself a limousine, and I was in business.
Did it work?
It did, and for a couple of years, about 3 years, and then everybody got in the limousine.
Really?
Business. You couldn't go on. This was in Sterling Heights area. You couldn't go on a street in Sterling Heights without somebody that had a limousine in their driveway.
What happened to limousines? Nobody really. It's not like a.
Well, too many people got into it initially. You could actually get a limousine to the airport cheaper than a taxi cab. Wow. It was $50 to go to the airport in a limousine.
Okay.
At the time, and but I had an advantage. I had a black limousine. Everyone else wanted white or lighter color limousines for proms and weddings, but the business clientele, they hated white limousines because it was for proms and weddings. They wanted something conservative, something that was kind of an understatement, even though it was a limousine. So I was pretty much the only black limousine in town. So I got a lot of referrals from the other limousine companies. And the beauty of doing business clients is they'll rent your car for 8 hours at a time. Mm-hmm. And then they have an agenda. We're going to go here and eat dinner at this time. We're getting out at this time. We're going to the show at this time. We're getting out at this time. And then we're going to go home. Or, they haven't, it's not bar hopping. It's not crazy things. You know exactly what you're going to do. And
were you driving the limo?
Yeah, at that time, I did a lot of the driving. I had a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine. I hired him as my marketing guy because he had game, and he would go to the bar and convince these girls to rent the limousine just so he could drive it. And
that's awesome, dude.
So, but these business clients, after 8 hours, would get out of the car and they take all their garbage with them. It's like nobody was in the car. I could do another run right there. It was spotless. And so they respected your property. They didn't get drunk or sick or obnoxious or do drugs, which was nice. And
they clean up their drugs very well.
Yeah, or they cleaned them up very well if they did. Yeah. So I like that part of it. And I actually got to know a guy named Vernon Bullock, who's the nephew of Barry Gordy Jr. And I was doing limousine runs for him, and I was doing Aretha Franklin's house because she would have parties. And that was kind of cool because all these celebrities would come in and you have to pick them up from the airport. But at that time, I had my friend driving the car. And one time he told me, he would just sit in front of her house the whole time. And if somebody needed to go somewhere, they would, he was like a on-demand taxi. But one time he got a call, he had to pick somebody up at the airport, and it was, I can't think of his name now. Anyway, he was coming in on a red eye because he was doing a show, and he picked him up and took him to Aretha Franklin's party. And I missed that because I was having my friend do the run.
Someone will Google it later.
Yeah.
Who was that guy?
He was very famous. I can picture him. I just can't. I can't think of his name. It always escapes me. But so that was interesting. Doing runs for all the friends of Vernon Bullock, and so. But eventually that business died down because everybody got into it and cut their throats in the pricing.
You just get rid of it. You just sold the car. I'm done.
Yeah, pretty much. It was very expensive to maintain because it had I won't get into the motor, but it was a 468 motor from Cadillac. They were terrible motors. They need to be rebuilt.
It's a big motor, no?
No, 468 because 4 cylinders work until you need 6 and then 8.
They like horsepower. Okay,
they would die every 50,000 miles. They'd have to be completely rebuilt, and it's a very complicated engine because of how it operated. It was meant to save on gas when you only need 4 cylinders.
Okay, interesting. So it literally would just change.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So anyway, after that, I decided I needed a career. I don't want to just work jobs for the rest of my life and make the same amount of money. I want something that as I got older and gained more experience, I could get paid more for it. So I had to find a career. So at that point, I got into design. Like I bought books on AutoCAD, how to use AutoCAD. Got the stolen copy of AutoCAD. I hope I don't get sued. Everybody did it.
Statute of limitation, right? That's probably a long time ago.
Yeah. So. And I taught myself AutoCAD. And then what I did is I went around to the mom and pop design shops and said, look, I'll work for whatever you want to pay me. I'll do all the crap work that the designers don't want to do. I'll do the detailing, whatever. As long as I'm learning, I don't care what you pay me. And basically, I was just doing it for the training, the experience, because then I could go start a career. And so I worked for Grossell Tool, which is here locally. It was owned by Kevin Colwell and his family. And they're actually very well connected in the area. And but it was just a small shop that designed and made weld guns and pneumatic cylinders for weld guns and other applications. And they put me under this designer. He smoked like a chimney. And he smoked there, inside. So I had to put up with that. But I learned a lot about pneumatic cylinders and stuff, and I got a lot of experience. And so from there, I started putting my application after about a year. I figured, okay, I can start putting my application in. And I hopped around from place to place, getting my rate up $1.02 each time, and ended up making really good money. And then I shifted to the IT side of things and got into programming and automation and maintaining hardware, computer hardware, servers. And that's the side I got into. And then I ended up getting involved with a company, Unigraphic Solutions. They were founded by McDonnell Douglas. They had the CAD software, and the CAD software they use for designing aircraft and automobiles. And they developed something called Team Center. It was called IMAN at the time, but it was like an engineering database. It stored data, revisioned it, and basically it was like a database for your engineering data. And then Siemens bought out the company. And so I was working for Siemens at the time. And then I worked for a number of Fortune 100 companies, EDS, Siemens, BorgWarner, basically supporting the Team Center database and writing custom code, doing a lot of development work. The funny thing was that Siemens did a mass layoff one time, and I was a part of that layoff because they were just cutting across the board. And 2 weeks after they laid me off, I got home. I literally just put my laptop bag down on the couch, and I get a phone call. There's a recruiter, some guy on the East Coast, says, "We got a job for you."
This is the same day you get laid off?
Same day. I literally just got home after getting laid off. And he says, "I got a job for you." It's and he said it was in Milford, Ohio. And I go, "Well, there's only 2 companies in Milford, Ohio that use Team Center. One of them is Siemens, and I know they're not hiring because they just laid everybody off. And the other company is the guy who's in charge of the team center there is the guy I trained. I actually set them up. So I go, it's not working for a guy named, can I say his name?
Yeah, say whatever.
Curtis Taylor. And he goes, yeah, how did you know that? I go, tell him I can start next week. He goes, no, there's a whole process. You got to go through 5 minutes. I go, no, call him back. Tell him I can start next week. He's like, okay. Calls me back 5 minutes later. Congratulations, you got the job.
That's awesome.
So, and then I started that job, and then 2 weeks later, Siemens tries to call me back. And I got like 2.5 months of severance because you got a week for every year or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I go, do I have to pay back my severance? They said, yeah. I said, nope.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. After I was working for that, it was Tata was the company I was working for in Milford. But I was getting tired of the drive. I would drive down there. I had an apartment down there, and I would come back on the weekends. And I really didn't want to move down there. And so BorgWarner had a job, and it was temporary. It was a contract position. And when I was in there, they bought a company out in Sweden that had a different database for their engineering, and they wanted to migrate it to Team Center. And they brought in Siemens, and Siemens says, well, it'll cost $800,000. It'll take a team of 6 people and a project manager 6 months to do. I go, this is perfect for me to get back at Siemens and let them know what they screwed up.
Yeah.
I went
Ultimate revenge. Here we go.
I went to
Someone in here knows what's going on.
I went to my boss. I said, give me a week to write the code, and I'll migrate all the data over a weekend for you. And I was on salary, so there was no extra cost to me. And to his credit, most managers would say no because they want to use a big company because they can keep them on the hook to make sure everything's right. But he said, yeah, sure, try it. Because if it didn't work out, he could still hire the company. So
you have no upside besides costing Siemens $800K.
So I wrote the code and tested it over the week, make sure everything was working right. And then I was coordinating with the people. The company was Haldex out of Sweden. And I was coordinating with them to how to export their data in a spreadsheet so I could read it in properly and how they were putting all the data as far as their folder structures so my program would know where to look to import all the stuff. And I did it over a weekend and saved them $800,000, and I cost Siemens $800,000. So it was kind of sweet revenge, but at that point, that's when BorgWarner hired me direct.
I was going to say, so
they hired me direct.
Obviously.
But basically I paid for myself.
Yeah.
For
a long time.
A long time, yeah. So I worked for them for about 13 and a half, 14 years. And then I was looking for something else. My wife was kind of pushing me. She's Chinese, so she's very much, pushing you to do.
Is she from China?
Originally, she was from China. She was here 10 years before I met her.
Okay. How'd you meet her?
I went on Match.com, and the funny thing was, here's the funny part. So I was looking, her name, how you have this, you use a username that's not your real name?
No, but
her name was Match. I go, on Match.com? I go, I met my match. and I thought that was clever. She's smart. It's clever. And so we went on a date, and she was kind of like standoffish. She's not a very open person with people she doesn't know. And I wasn't sure. I thought, well, okay, maybe it's not going to go anywhere. But we went on a few other dates, and then we ended up getting married. But at some point, not right away.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny. But she pushed me into this thing, and then we were watching YouTube videos of a guy named Dan Pena. He's a Sir Knight. He was knighted. Actually, he owns a castle, Guthrie Castle in Scotland, and he teaches people how to do mergers and acquisitions. I liken him to a drill sergeant for mergers and acquisitions because the guy just...
I think I know who he is.
Yeah, he swears like a drunken...
Bald guy. I think he's bald. The older white guy.
Yeah.
I know who he is.
They call him the $1 trillion man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just goes nuts.
Yeah.
He's like, ah!
Yeah, exactly. So I actually paid to go to his seminar. It was like $30,000 US. And you go to his castle for a week, and they train you. But really, more than training in any specifics of what you do for mergers and acquisitions, it's more of like, this is why I think he's more of a drill sergeant. because he tears you down and builds you back up, kind of like the Marine Corps does. And he has a military background, so I can see that's where he got it from. But the biggest problem people have where they're not successful in life is self-confidence. So he tears you down, calls you a meg, it's worthless, ran down the best part of you ran down your mother's leg, the whole bit. These are lines he uses. And then he builds you back up. He shows you videos of people who are successful, how they really act, how they really carry themselves, how they don't know shit about the industry they're in, but they don't care. They're not going to let that stop them.
They're not scared.
They'll just do it. They'll figure it out.
Yep.
So that's what you have to be like to be successful. That's probably the number one thing you need is self-confidence. Everything else is secondary. And that actually came into play when I went to finance a home healthcare business, because I was talking to the banks.
Well, yeah. So real quick, I'm sorry. So how you went from having this job with BorgWarner?
Yeah.
And then
I went to Dan Pena's seminar. And by the way, he's a completely different person.
At this point, are you done with BorgWarner at this point?
No, I'm still working at BorgWarner.
You go to this.
They're paying me really well. I wasn't about to leave there.
But you go. By the way, my family had a castle in Scotland. Just saying, bro.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a book on it. It's called The Rose Clan. Check it out.
Okay. I will.
They sold it to the church or something. I don't know. I found this out a couple of years ago. It's actually funny. Yeah.
Well, the taxes are outrageous because the further the castle is from the main road, the more expensive your taxes. They call it the castle tax. And Dan Pena said when he bought his castle, they didn't tell him.
So he bought it?
Yeah, he bought it. Yeah, Guthrie Castle in Guthrie, Scotland. But
all right, so you go to a seminar, go to his castle. He screams at you, tells you you're a scumbag.
He basically
builds you back up.
Yeah, but the first night I met him, you have a one-on-one before you start the seminar. I came in, I was the first one to meet him. So I go into his office. Now, he tells you have to have a $10,000 custom tailored suit. So I went and had a custom suit made. It wasn't quite $10,000. It was probably $7,000 for the suit, because he can tell if the suit's not, up to snuff. And because he's done that with several other mentees, he called them, when they were there. So I go in there, and I'm in this $10,000 suit, pretty close to it. And he's in his silk pajamas sitting on his couch in his office with a clipboard. And I thought, that's odd. And then it hit me. He's making a statement. I can do this because of who I am. You're nobody. I'm a billionaire. I can do this. And there's nothing you can say about it. That was the statement he was making. And it probably was lost on a number of people that were there, but I picked up on it. And it was very interesting. But in person, he's actually a really nice person until you piss him off. If you annoy him, he'll raise his voice and get upset. And I saw that a few times. But other than that, he's a really nice person. And I actually think I know what he's really trying to do, but I won't state this here because I think he wants to keep it quiet. But it became obvious to me that a number of people that attend the seminar really can't afford to be there because, like I said, it's $30,000. So I think he finances some of these people to help them out, and the people that pay the $30,000 kind of help cover that.
That's cool.
Yeah, because he's bringing people from dirt poor countries that have nothing, grew up with nothing, and he's turning them into millionaires and billionaires.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I agree with that.
That's cool.
I agree with that. So anyway, I came back. I was still working at BorgWarner, and he was pushing healthcare. He says everybody's got to be in healthcare. I thought, well, everybody getting in that, trying to buy that, it's going to be too crowded. I was wrong, but at that point, that's what I was thinking. So I thought, okay, laundromats. It's 96% mom and pop. Now with the technology, you can track all the money, so you don't have to be the one emptying the coins. You can, if somebody's stealing from you, you'll know right away. So it's ripe for roll up and scaling. So I thought, that's the business I'm going to get into. So I started going around and asking laundromat owners if they want to sell. There's several ways you can do this. I wasn't aware of all the different ways you could, like if you could find a laundromat that was shut down and already had the infrastructure in place, you could save having to buy the business because you could just
buy the property, basically.
And fix it up. But one guy I talked to, he ended up being my landlord. He says, no, I don't want to sell this place, but we want to open a laundromat in one of our other locations, but I don't want to run it because I don't have time. And I said, okay. And I went and looked at it, ran the demographics on it. It's really good. And I built one. But now it already had a 3-inch water line going in there because it used to be a dry cleaning plant for President Tuxedo. It was their main headquarters. And so it had that. I had to have a gas line installed. And this is the funny part. Had the normal 3/4-inch gas line. I needed a 3-inch gas line. So they had to actually dig up the parking lot behind the building, connect to the main, and run a 3-inch pipe from the main to the building. And I thought, oh, this is going to cost me. Everyone was saying it'd be $2,000 to $5,000 because the gas company charges you. Well, when they were there doing it, I spent $100 on pizzas for the whole crew. And when I got the bill for the thing, it was $600.
Nice.
It was the best $100 I ever spent.
Awesome.
I don't know if that was the reason why it was only $600, but I like to think
good
it was.
karma. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I ended up building that, and there was a time where it took a while to build up the business, because it's all like word of mouth. I tried several ways of marketing it that were not very successful. I learned,
Like what were the unsuccessful marketing?
mailers. I tried to pick areas where there were lots of apartments and renters. I sent out like 5,000 mailers. I think I got 100 people that came in and used the coupon on the mailer.
It's actually pretty good for mailer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I sent out another 5,000 in the other direction, and I got one. So it's like, and they're expensive to print. And
They're
to mail
expensive.
out.
No, the return rate on that stuff's just not high.
And then I discovered Google Ads. All you need is Google Ads.
Yep.
That's it. And boom, business took off. And I actually noticed one time with Google Ads, you were supposed to change something. You had a certain amount of time to do it. Otherwise, your ads would stop running. Well, they sent it to an email that I didn't really check regularly. So all of a sudden, I noticed my business dropping off. And then I look at my Google Ads, and there are no ads running. And and I'm like, oh, but that I was able to tell there was a big difference.
Yeah, so that much of a difference.
So I confirmed that.
What year was this? Like this is...
This is probably my second year. So 2024?
Okay.
Yeah, 2024.
Cool.
So anyway, there was a time when the business wasn't making much money and we were burning through cash. And yeah, I still had the job at BorgWarner. My wife was a master's degree in electrical engineering. She was still working too. She made good money too. We both made 6 figures each. And so that was keeping us afloat, but we were just pouring money into this thing. And my wife one time says, when are we going to sell the business? Cut our losses. And I told her, I go, you can't sell a business that's not making money.
There's nothing to sell. We just shut it.
Yeah. I go, yeah. And she was like, well, when are we just going to cut our losses? And I looked at her and I said, when I'm dead. And she didn't like that. But it's the truth. It's like I knew the business could be successful. I knew the demographics were right. I knew the business model was right. It just needed time. We needed enough runway to get that word of mouth and the advertising going so that we could get the business to that point. And eventually it did. I 100% knew it could work. It's just how long could we wait, hold out until that point? And then, but when it wasn't making money, I was like, well, maybe I'm going to be bankrupt. Maybe I'm going to be out of business. And
you're not going to die though. So.
No, I'm not going to die. But I was like, I just gave up at that point. I pulled into I normally get a coffee in the morning. I pulled in the coffee. I'm like, I had $100 bill. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to go out of business, I'm not giving the money to the bank. I'm going to give it to this person working this window. I'm going to give $100 to them for a coffee and tell them to keep the change. Because I figured if it's going to go to the bank, I'd rather have them have it. They appreciate it. The bank don't care. So I give them $100 tip and I said, God, it's in your hands. If you don't want me to be in this business, I'm going to fail. If you want me to, it'll succeed. So this was at like right before 8 o'clock in the morning because I opened at 8. It was like 5 minutes away from my store. I get there, I open up. By 9 o'clock, a guy comes wandering in and just starts looking around the place. I'm like, can I help you? And he's like, well, I have a commercial laundry and we're tearing down all our equipment and moving. So for a couple of months, I need a place to wash the laundry. It was like $4,000 a month in business. And it was like an hour after I said, it's in your hands, God.
Wild, man.
Not even an hour. And And the funny thing is the last day when he did the last load, the last cart that he took out of there, he says, okay, thank you, for helping me out. And I said, no, thank you. And he took it, that cart, the linens, if they're cotton and there's nowhere where you don't have breathing room in the cart, like it's just a solid plastic cart, they heat up and they actually caught fire. And they started a small fire at his new place. So for another month, he had to come back to my place. And it was another $4,000. So it helped me get through the period where I was pretty much bleeding cash. And from that point on, it was making money.
That's awesome, man. So now you have Omni, right? Yeah. So Omni was a couple years ago you purchased, or?
December 2024. Okay. I decided that it's not easy to scale laundromats because it's all brick and mortar. You got to open a new location. The equipment's like $500,000 to $600,000.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And you have to sign long-term leases because you don't want to sign a 4-year lease. Then you have equipment that you're paying on for 10 years, and they say, okay, we're kicking you out. So you have to sign long-term leases, like 10, 15, 20 years. And then the biggest problem was I found were hiring good employees because you can't pay them a lot in that business, right? It's just manual labor business. It's not a skilled business, but a lot of them, I can't tell you how many times little ways they find ways to steal from you, or they don't do their job. They sit there on their phone all day. And we've gone through a lot of people. We've got some good people now, that's the biggest problem. The beauty of the home healthcare business. Now, it has its own set of problems. Every business has its pluses and minuses. Its set of problems is you're dealing with regulations and you're dealing with state and federal agencies as far as meeting their requirements. And usually they'll say, by the way, we're changing this. You have 1 week to do all these things, and if you don't do them, we're going to stop paying you. And so it's like panic. And the worst part is when they make these changes, they're not ready for it. So nobody can tell you exactly what you need to do or where you need to go. And so if you can put up with those short-term stress moments, it's a great business because it's pretty much a 9 to 5. Usually you're paying family members who are taking care of loved ones. Or you have the skilled nursing side where they have a schedule they go on, and all you're doing is basically handling payroll, administration, regulations from the state, and then scheduling. Other than that, it's real easy.
And the healthcare business is the business you really want to grow, right?
Yeah, there are 800,000 people in the U.S. alone that are on waiting lists for home health care.
Wow.
And it's only going to get bigger.
So why don't more people get into it? It's just
the problem is because of all the regulations and because of all the issues. Like I think it was December 28th, we got an email from the state saying we're changing everything, and you need to now go through all these different health insurance providers that we're moving people to. And you need to be set up for it January 1st, or we're not paying you. And now they usually back off from that. They give you these impossible things so people start working on them. And they're like, oh, okay, now you have to label. After you've been like running around pulling your hair out. Yeah, and
keep on your toes.
Yeah. So, like I said, it's these short-term panics. But it's a lot of stress dealing with that. And if you're a small business, what they're trying to do now, I think the big businesses are lobbying the state and the federal government. Like now we have to have cyber insurance. It's like $1,000 a month. Now you have to have that. If you're a big company with thousands of clients, that's a small price. That's nothing, right? But for a small company,
kills you.
It kills your margins. And so you can't really make money. And so the trick is you got to become a big fish quick. Or they're going to kill you.
So is that the goal? Like you're trying to build?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do through acquisition. But before I do that, I've got to get everything in line because there's so many inefficiencies that were built into this business from the original owners. They couldn't grow it any further because the way they were running it, the owner was the director of nursing. She did payroll. She paid the taxes. She had a CPA for the quarterly taxes, but she would pay the payroll taxes. But the truth was, she wasn't really doing her job, and she was just happy with what she had. She wasn't going out trying to get new clients or new doctors or anything like that. So the processes were all paperwork. They were cumbersome. They were convoluted, and so we're streamlining everything and making it all electronic.
Did you know that going in, like when you bought it?
No, actually, a number of the things, I learned something from this, okay?
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Like.
So when we did the due diligence, I actually had a guy who was a former CFO for a Fortune 100 company through a friend of mine, a lodge brother of mine. He looked at the financials and he says, if you don't buy the company, I will. And so I thought, okay, it's good to go. And the financials were right for what I was paying for it. I paid $1.24 million, but the bank valued it at $1.8 million. Now, here's the beauty of it that I found out. She was billing a lot, but 35% of the money she was billing, she wasn't collecting on because she didn't know how to bill or she wouldn't follow up.
What a nightmare, dude.
So, but the price I paid was based on what she was collecting.
Okay.
So now,
so it's like actually hidden.
It's hidden revenue that
if we can go get 20% of that, or what, you know what I mean, or
well, so I hired a third party billing company to go in and do a forensics on it. Last year alone, she left $312,000 on the table.
Just forgot to bill it.
No, she billed it, but there was a problem. Corrections had to be made. They were denying it because of something wasn't right or something.
Because it's
was
like
missing.
medical billing.
So you just have to go through and change stuff or get something signed or whatever. And she would just keep resubmitting it, hoping it would go through. And then when it didn't, she would suppress it and hide it so it wouldn't show up. So I didn't even know at the time that there was even a suppression feature on the software where you could suppress something. And so we went back. So when HealthRev went through, they're telling me, dude, she left $312,000. And then for the first 4 months of this year, she's billing 74 and 26,000 of it she's not collecting. So I said, go collect it. Go get it. So they get paid on a percentage of what they collect. Okay. So they're going and getting it right now. But what had happened is she wasn't billing this and it started to lose money. And I started moving money over from the private duty side, which are just caregivers, non-skilled caregivers, to pay the bills. I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. The company, if I'm paying a salary to these nurses and physical therapists, that means they're doing work for clients. I should be getting invoices. Money. But I wasn't. And I didn't notice it. It didn't become really bad until, like I said, the first 4 months. And like in the first 4 months, I moved $170,000 over to cover expenses of the other business. And I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to go bankrupt doing this.
Yeah. This is not sustainable.
Yeah. And so that's when I asked HealthRev to go in and they had me produce some reports for them from the software. They had like standard reports and they went through the numbers and they're like, she's not billing. She didn't care. It wasn't her company anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know.
Shitty.
Yeah.
Is she still part of it or no?
No, I replaced her.
Good.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was easy at that point once I discovered that. I was furious.
How long ago was this? A few months ago or?
Last month.
Jeez, it's fresh.
So the thing I learned is that if you're going to buy a company, be prepared to fire the owners day one.
I hear that a lot.
Yeah, because they don't care.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Yeah. So there's just... They're not looking out for you. They don't care. In fact, there may be some jealousy or some resentment towards you. Yeah. Like I had no idea what I was getting into in the home healthcare business. I come from a laundromat, right? I don't know. So I think they didn't respect me, and they probably had some resentment towards me as who's this guy coming in and taking over what I built.
Well, they didn't have to sell it either.
Yeah, they didn't have to sell it. They didn't have to take my money.
Yeah.
But they did.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. But really, I want to grow through acquisitions, not just, and the reason you do that, and Dan Pena says this, okay, Okay.
It's all ETA, entrepreneurship, acquisition.
Well, I call it entrepreneurship because you enter into a bunch of shit. Everyone thinks, oh, these rich people, they see them at parties, they see them drinking wine, they see them in nice suits, nice cars. They don't see the sacrifices these people have to make to get where they're at.
Yep.
They just see the one side of it. They don't understand all the birthday parties they missed, all the time away from the family, the late nights, the sleepless nights because you don't know if you're going to meet payroll. They don't see that. They just see the Ferrari in the driveway, right? So, but where was I going with this?
Acquisitions.
Yeah, acquisitions. So most people think look for a return on their investment. Like if you put money and invest it in the stock market, if it earns 18%, which it would be really good, your money would double in 4 years. So if you take $140,000 and you put it in there for 4 years, you'll have $280,000. You take that same $140,000 and put it down as a 10% down payment on an SBA loan to buy a business that's cash flowing or that has an EBITDA of $600,000 a year. In the first 5 months, you've paid for that $144,000. By the end of the year, you have about a 250 to 300% return on.
Yeah, and you're only using $150 to do it.
Yeah,
it's like the same idea in like buying real estate, right? Like instead of putting $100K in the market, you put $100K down on a house that you're going to flip, and then now you have all this leverage and same type of thing.
Yeah, so I mean that's the way to grow your wealth. That's not through. I mean, investing is great if that's the only option you have or want to do, because mergers and acquisitions is not something that's easy. You have to have self-confidence. You have to understand the language of the bank. You have to like what loan to value is, debt service coverage ratio. If you're not talking their language, they're not going to take you serious. If you are, they see you as an equal, and they'll start to treat you that way. Like,
yeah, for the whole game is like it's like a fucking dirty game. Like it's a tough game to play.
Yeah,
it's not like getting a personal loan. It's a different.
No, it's completely different.
Very invasive and.
See, when you're buying a business that's cash flowing and the due diligence shows that it's really making money, the only way the bank could lose money on that is if you screw it up, right? Because it's been making money for the last 10, 20 years, unless there's something unusual about like a serious market.
Well, it's not collecting the billing.
Yeah. So it's you that they focus on, not the business. So if the business is making money, they want to know, are you going to screw it up? So because I had experience with the laundromat, okay, I have experience in business. May not be the same type of business, but I have experience in business. And what I did is I had a friend of mine who was a lodge brother. He was in the home health care business in Maine. His family had the largest privately owned home health care business in the state of Maine. They sold it for $100 million. And I had him as an advisor. And so he got on the phone call with me when I talked to the bank, and he just wowed him. And I said, well, the guy's got business experience, and he's got this advisor that understands the home healthcare business, and the business is making money. We have good reason to believe he's not going to screw it up. And so they gave me
super solid by him.
Yeah.
So I still understand you went from having limos, hey, I want to study a job. Like, what woke you up one day and you're like, fuck it, I'm doing this again? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these are like huge changes, man. Like,
well,
you did it later too. Like, I'm not calling you old, but I'm saying like,
I am old.
But it is like a later.
Oh yeah, I started like when I was 54.
Yeah, that's what it was 20. Then you got a job. Now 54. Like, what? Is something always wanted to get back doing, or
no? I mean, I had a good amount of money in my IRA. My wife had money in her IRA. It allowed us to live comfortable when we retired, but not be able to do whatever we wanted. So we wanted to have FU money where we could, hey, let's go to Spain this weekend. Let's go do this, and money's not an issue. It's just, what do we want to do? And so, and plus it gives you some security later in life. And plus we wanted to pass something down to our son, so he had something. So the only way to do that is it's not going to be through working and investing money in an IRA. We had to have a business to hand to our son, something that has cash flow, and then teach him work ethic. And
how old's your son?
He's 7 now.
7?
Yeah, he's in first
Man, you
grade.
do everything late, dude.
Yeah, I do. Better late than never. But yeah, so E7 now, he's actually in first grade, but he does math at an 8th grade level. Because,
Sharp kid, yeah.
Well, I have to give the credit to my wife. She sent him to abacus training. And this is why the Chinese are so good at math.
Abacus training.
Because they all send their kids to abacus training, how to use an abacus. And he can do the numbers in his head now.
My son loves numbers. And it's not because of the abacus. It's because of number blocks on YouTube.
Really? Okay.
He's 4 years old, but we bought him these, you know what Minecraft is?
Yeah.
So they're these magnetic Minecraft blocks. They're pretty cool. I don't know how exactly it works because the sides never oppose each other magnetically. I think they kind of flip around, but they're like perfect cubes, and you stack them all up. So he'll be doing his numbers like.
They probably have it.
There's something in the
swivel.
flips it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I actually want to break one open to figure it out. But yeah, he'll be like making all the numbers and stuff. But yeah. So your kid's a smart kid because your wife's forcing him to do an abacus.
Yeah.
Slapping his fingers with rulers, you know.
Yeah, almost literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he in private school? Is it public school or
Public school?
public school?
He went to private school at Chinese. He speaks Mandarin, Chinese, and English.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
That's a huge skill set.
Yeah,
I don't know what we're gonna do with my son. We got him in he's in Montessori right now.
that's a good school.
Yeah, for now. But I don't know if I'm gonna keep him there or send him public or I don't know.
Yeah, we looked at Montessori, but my wife didn't. I felt it was too strict.
It's the one I don't know, man. I feel like it's the opposite actually.
Really?
But he's only 4. But yeah, it's like very like the kids. So that I believe the idea behind Montessori is that they're trying to teach you how to become a leader and
Right.
pick your own curriculum, pick your own destiny, right? Work on the stuff that you love to work on. Like they try to do it at like a very young age. So he's very young. He's 4. Maybe Montessori gets different when you're 7, 8, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, they pretty much choose what they're gonna work on every day. You know what I mean? And
That's great.
yeah, it's interesting. It's a cool. He loves it. I mean,
Okay, maybe I was wrong.
yeah, I think you might be thinking of something else, but maybe when you get, but
It might have been. They're not all the same.
they're not all the same.
No.
No, they're not all the same.
So I think that was probably.
Yeah, they're not all the same, but that's cool, man. So yeah, leaving the business to the kid. That's kind of your why, and
Yeah. Well, I have a
being
number
able to
of,
do whatever you want to, which is awesome.
I have a number of another reason. Okay. And I don't know if you're going to want to put this in your podcast or you want to keep it out.
I don't care.
When I was 2 years old, and I'm guessing I was around 2, because I could barely walk. I had to go down the stairs backwards because I couldn't walk down the stairs on my own. It was like at 5 a.m. Nobody was up. The sun was just starting to come up. We were in our house. It was a newer house. They bought it when I was born. But it was empty because, they were house poor, right?
Yeah.
And I remember walking to the front window and it's facing east and I saw the sun coming up. And somehow I knew there was at 2 years old, I knew there was a God. I knew there was a temple. I knew it had been destroyed because I had promised to God I was going to rebuild his temple because the sun coming up was so beautiful. And I thought, that's what
What does that even mean?
yeah, why would I even do that at 2 years old? Why? How would I even know that? And somehow I just...
Was your family pretty religious or?
Not at all.
Really?
Not at all. We never went to church.
That makes it even
We
weirder.
never... Yeah, because they wanted us to figure out on our own what we wanted.
I last time we met, I shared some of that stuff with you too, man. And it's like very, yeah, there's definitely something bigger.
Yeah.
For sure.
What's even weirder, and I thought this, I had dreamed this until I saw the picture. I was, they had a fireplace and they had this like a fake fur rug. It was white. And my sister was to my right and I was there. And my mom came with a camera at the edge of the room and she was going to take our picture. And I remember looking at my sister and thinking, as if I was talking to her, look, Mom has a camera, smile. And I thought, okay, I dreamed this. This is something. Years later, I saw that picture.
That's wild.
And I'm like, holy crap.
We think in story.
Yeah.
So like, there's a book I'm reading right now, and it because you said you were how old?
When I went down the stairs,
This memory about the camera.
the camera, I couldn't have been a year old.
So
In that
yeah, that's wild. You have some wild. I have some really early, like super early memories too. But the book is, I think it's Primal. I don't want to say Primal Instinct or something like this, but the whole book is about how or how far I've gotten in it so far, rather, because I'm like a third of the way through. But it's like we think in stories. So like before we had language and before we had, this, when we were, and this was never a cup, but we had an object when we were cavemen that we would drink things out of. So we thought in story, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So like you probably have this really old memory, and like your brain probably taught you the language behind it later, but like you probably had that story. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I've always wondered that too. Like how do before there was language, how do people process thought?
I couldn't speak at the time.
But they think in story.
But I remember the words. Yeah, so you're probably right.
And they say, and that's why storytelling is so important in like marketing and everything. Like we actually think in story if we actually break it down, So it's wild stuff, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
What'd you do with the picture?
I don't know where it is. I had, when my mom and my dad passed away, I had tried to gather all the pictures together. I still haven't found it.
Yeah.
But there are more pictures to go through. My brother finds new stuff all the time.
Yeah,
he's at my parents' house.
How long ago did they pass?
My mother was 2 years ago.
Okay, sorry to that.
Father was 2 years before that.
That's kind of recent, yeah.
Yeah, it was COVID.
COVID, okay.
Well, actually, it was the shots.
Yeah. A whole nother podcast.
Yeah, because my mother used to have cancer. She got cancer-free. She was cancer-free for years. As soon as she got the combination COVID and flu shot, came back aggressively. My father, he went. They at the same time they got their shots. He immediately came down with COVID. He survived the COVID, and but he was like super weak. So they sent him to like a rehab place because they didn't want to keep him in the hospital. And as his oxygen levels dropped, they just kept upping the oxygen from the tank instead of thinking, well, maybe there's a problem. Let's look. Yeah. If he was at the hospital, they probably would have x-rayed his lungs and saw that he had a pulmonary embolism, which is what killed him. But pulmonary embolisms were caused by the jab.
What's a pulmonary embolism?
It's like a clot in the lung.
Gotcha.
And so he couldn't breathe. He couldn't take in air. And they were just increasing the oxygen level, and then his oxygenation, I can't speak, kept dropping his levels. And rather than try and investigate why that is, they just let him die. So I feel that it was the vaccines that killed him, and that's just my opinion. Yeah. So I would like to see the people who did this held account.
Have you ever been to Italy?
No, I haven't been to Italy, no.
Italy's cool. So obviously like the Colosseum, right? Yeah. And like it comes out later that the whole strategy behind the Colosseum was to distract the masses, right?
Right.
Give the people something to look forward to every week. They
bread and circuses.
Yeah, I mean there's no charge to go to the fights. It's public. Go sit, get a meal, sit down. Hey, if we can control the masses through entertainment or whatever. Yeah. And like I feel like a lot of the stuff that's happened, like, and this always comes out in history later, you know what I'm saying? Like you read history books and it's like strategy, like all these villainous things. And then people question things that are going on today. It's like, you're a conspiracy theorist. And it's like, I don't know, dude, if you just follow fucking history, like,
well,
a lot of things come out, you know what I mean? Like I'm always interested, like we went to New York a few weeks ago and I'm walking through New York City and I'm like, man, I said, there's a good, like in 1,000 years, right? There's like a pretty good chance that either this place will be underwater or it just won't be New York City anymore.
Right.
And people will be like walking through ruins talking about all the things that happened in New York City 1,000 years ago, just like we do when we're in Italy talking about Rome, and all the crazy shit that was happening, Right. It's interesting stuff, so. But yeah, man. Well, cool. Was there anything else you want to share, man?
No, I wish I could have shared more on the entrepreneur side.
Feel free. I mean, if there's anything else you want to talk about, like.
Well, it's just if you're going to do something, do your due diligence. Make sure it's a company that you can run without having the owners there. Maybe keep them on board for a short time to show you their processes. I'm talking like 2 or 3 months, and then get rid of them. Take the payroll and the bookkeeping away from them if they're doing it. You need to do that because you need to keep an eye on things because they'll hide things from you. That's basically it. Don't don't trust them. And one thing that I've learned from being in small business is the government is the enemy of small business. And you're going to have a lot of regulations and stuff that are lobbied by the larger companies to prevent the smaller companies from growing and becoming competition. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. And I understand the people that run the larger companies want to secure their position and have a stable business without threats of competition, but that hurts innovation, which benefits mankind, and I think it's counterproductive to what this country was built on. And so I call it crony capitalism, whatever you want to call it, but I think that needs to go away. These companies that are lobbying, I think the money should be taken away from their ability to, they shouldn't be able to contribute to politicians.
Lobbying's pretty insane.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even realize that's a thing.
Yeah, but that's
unlimited lobbying.
That's what prevents small business, because they hide it under they couch it under the thing of, well, we put these regulations in to protect people. No, you put them in to create an undue burden on smaller businesses that don't have the economy of scale to absorb it, so they can't grow. Obamacare, or the Affordable Care, whatever you want to call it, that was a perfect thing. If you go beyond 50 full-time people, and it doesn't have to be full-time. If you have 100 part-time doing 20 hours, that's 50 full-time. It's an equivalent, full-time equivalent. And so I want to offer better insurance to my office staff. And we have a lot of caregivers out in the field. We have to hire them as W-2, even though their family members just taking care of their mother. If I offer great insurance with no deductible to my office, I've got to offer it to them. And if I'm only making $400 a month net off each one, and they're getting on insurance that's costing me $1,200 a month, I'm losing money. But for a big company that has economies of scale, where they have their office, their fixed costs are low compared to how they are. Now, like that particular example I gave you, they probably wouldn't offer insurance to them, but because they're a big enough company, they could set up what's called a class within the company, whereas only people that fall under a certain class, like management, gets this insurance. The rest of the people get this insurance. Whatever. Yeah. So, but it's expensive for a small company to set up something.
Health insurance is super expensive, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's even honest. I mean, it's insane. We have it at our business. We're it's just, you have to have it though.
Yeah.
Or we have to have it because our whole team is all professionals. So it's something that I have to offer. It's I want to offer it. I want my team to have it, But it is very expensive. It's tough. It makes it harder to be profitable and make money. And if you're an entrepreneur, you kind of got to be a little sick in the head, dude, because there's so many obstacles, man. There really is.
Well, the best explanation I heard of what being an entrepreneur is jumping off a cliff and building a plane on the way down.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, we were just talking about that in a different episode about so the guys who own Blake's Hard Cider.
Yeah.
So that's Blake's Farm. So Andrew Blake, the son, is the one who started the hard cider brand, and he was selling that shit to Meyer before they had a can. Mm-hmm. That's what he did. He said, "Hey, we're gonna make this cider. You want to buy it?" They said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, let's go make this." You know what I mean? Literally. And then they figured it out. But yeah, sometimes it is building the plane in the air, dude. 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, well, hey man, it's been great having you on.
All right, thank you for having me.
Yep. Look forward to seeing you again soon, man.
All
Thanks,
right.
Jeff.